Today is the fourth day in the month of February, the third day in the month of February. Happy new month to you all. Finally, we are in the month of love. The air is already talking about love. There is always love messages once we get into February. Welcome to Family and Values on Galaxy Television, where we are reaching out for the stars. How have you been this morning? Because we are in the season of love, I want you to understand that love conquers all things, no matter what. And remember, it's a year of ever flourishing. In all you do, you will definitely flourish. Do not give up. Keep the faith alive and enjoy the gospel and the will of God for your life. Welcome to the show this morning. Family and Value is a show where we discuss everything that has to do with your family and my family, your relationship and my relationship. Family cuts across ethnic, it cuts across religion, whether you're Muslim or Christian, a traditionalist. The values are the same across all families. And yes, we are streaming live on our Facebook and on YouTube. Please download the Galaxy mobile app so that you can watch us on the go. Please, it's very important. And a big shout out to our Star Times family. We love you, everyone watching the show across the country. We love you. We appreciate you. If this is the first time you're seeing my face, I am Princess Joy Ayo Abu. It promises to be a very wonderful show this morning. And I'm not in the studio alone. I have my very own beautiful Mama Jens in the studio. Good morning to you. Happy new month. Morning to you.
Beautiful month, I pray that the beauty that month will surely work for each and every one of us.
Amen.
And the days are expensive. Days. Each day you have before you, like a day like this, the 3rd of February 2025. They're very expensive. Expensive because someone decided to give you a life. And because you have that life, you have the opportunity and the privilege for you to go all the way to do well, to do right, to use it, judiciously. Yes. So a beautiful morning to you. And as much as it is beautiful, it is full of all loaded benefits that you just need to walk through. In the process of walking through that day, know that it is very expensive. So use it well. Because today, on a day like this, can never be taken. So be wise in your dealing today. Be wise in your steppings. Be wise in your decision. Be wise before you take action. Be wise before you get angry and lose consciousness of your person, who you are. Sometimes these are the things I need to adjust. But remember, today is Monday. Do well to us, at least tolerate to a certain extent. And if you want to act with your mind, with your sense. My name is Olori Adejoke Adabi David. My friends call me Olori AJ. You're welcome to Family and Values. And we hope you're joining us on our social media platform. Wherever you're joining us, we love you. We appreciate all your goodwill, your messages. We want you to keep on bringing them on because it has a lot to do with what we release out to you. Time to do.
Yes, what we release out to before we have any bed, and do we have birthday shout outs?
Yeah, happy birthday to everyone.
Happy birthday to everyone celebrating.
And yes, my own darling. I know it's our own too. But a beautiful woman, Pastor Mrs. Olukemi.
Yes, over the weekend.
Happy birthday to you, ma'am. It's the first one you attain, you celebrate after that big promotion. I will pray God will contain you with all the wisdom that you need, to expand your rising. Also to Mrs. Dickness Afolashade Ademukua, happy birthday to you. I celebrated yesterday as well. And also to Mommy Adeyokumu, Felicia Adeyokumu. Happy birthday to all these women of God as they start the month. And a beautiful birthday shout out also to Tabitha Maje Kondoni. It's called him Salah. Happy birthday to you. And to darling brother John Abba. Happy birthday to all those beautiful people. Ireoluwa Jayoba, happy birthday to you too. Many happy returns to everyone celebrating.
To everyone celebrating, we wish you happy birthday. And this is a shout out to our Muslim community. February 1st is World Hijab Day, is to celebrate the beauty in putting on an hijab. And I was trying to get one over the weekend to just come with my hijab and, tell them, yes, we love you, because that's what family is all about. It's actually a day set aside where you talk about, they give them the freedom to use hijab without discrimination. Yes, so the freedom. So to our Muslim community, happy Hijab Day. All right, on that note, let's go on. I'm in a feature, and when we return, our guest will be joining us via Zoom to have today's conversation. It's Monday, it's serious business. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back. That was our mini feature, and today we'll be discussing knowing when to quit a relationship. Yes. When do you take that bold step to say, I'm done? Like they will say it in pidgin, I no do again, no be by force, I won't come on. At what point do you take that decision? It could be a very dicey one because a lot of emotions will be involved, a lot of sacrifices must have been made. But for your mental health, when do you think you should quit that relationship? I'm sure a lot of people are in that table right now thinking, oh, when should I quit? Should I wait till after the vow? Let me collect Valentine gifts before I leave. That's on a light note. But when? Knowing when to quit a relationship. And this morning we have our guest. She's Deaconess Bolanle Oba. She's an author, marriage counselor, and a life coach. We've missed her. Good morning to you, ma'am. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Olori, good morning. Thanks for having me. Permit me to say Happy New Year. We have not seen this year, and also Happy New Month. And I pray this year shall be a great one for every one of us in Jesus' name.
Amen. It's so good to have you once again. Happy New Year, Happy New Month.
Thank you.
And how's the family? How is Oga and the children? I hope everybody's doing fine.
Thank you.
I remember when I said we need you at the studio. She said, oh, for now, let me do Zoom. I'm very strong to come. So we appreciate it. Thank you. So today's topic, ma'am, knowing when to quit a relationship. I want to ask, what are those major flags? Now, we are not looking at the minor ones. We are looking at those major flags the red flags that indicate that it's time to quit, whether you like it or not. There are major flags and there are really minor red flags that you see that you can overlook. But what are those major flags that you see in a relationship and you know that, no, it's time for me to quit this relationship?
Thank you. Knowing when to quit a relationship is very, very important. When the relationship becomes toxic, what do I mean by that? When it involves abuse, and we have different types of abuses. We have emotional abuse, we have physical abuse, we have verbal abuse, we have sexual abuse, and there is something now that we call sexual coercion. When it involves all those, when you have a feeling of inadequacy, somebody is always putting you down. You have low self-esteem of yourself. You are always afraid of that person you claim to be in a relationship with. I think it's time to quit. Maybe after having a proper discussion and you discover that there is no headway. There is a saying in the world that if you discover you've been going on a wrong road, even for hours, for days, and you discover it's a wrong road, the best thing for you is to turn back and ask for the best road. And it's better to break a relationship than to force yourself into marriage. So when a relationship becomes toxic, emotional abuse, physical, sexual, all manner of abuses, I think it's time to take a walk. Thank God you are not in marriage already. So that's the main thing for me. Then the second thing that I may say, if your partner is a serious cheater, maybe he cheated once, you caught him or her, you forgive, then he or she went back to it, then there is no point in continuing. So those two are the main things, abuse. And like I said, under abuse, we have different things. Then the second thing is, if the person is a serial cheater, the best thing for you is to take a walk. It's not a do or die affair. God will always give you your own person that will give you peace of mind. If you're in a relationship and you are not having peace, you are not having joy, why continuing? So it's better to quit and go back to the drawing board. Those are the main things for me. And what do I mean by sexual coercion? You know, there are some people, you are in a relationship with them, they will be telling you, if I don't sample you, you know what I mean. I want to sleep with you before the D-Day. That one is different from sexual abuse. If somebody is always telling you like that, or if you do this, I will take a walk, or this relationship, you know, I will walk away, then it's better to walk away at that initial stage. So those three things are, I want to say, they are the main things for me. Like you said, we have
I want to
other
find
small
out.
things like lack of trust.
Okay.
Sorry?
I want to ask a question. Now, how do we now differentiate between a normal relationship challenges and a toxic pattern? Can you help us to break this down? A normal relationship challenges. You have mentioned some of them from what you have started with. So how do we differentiate between these two? Normal relationship challenges that comes in when you're going through a relationship courtship, and a toxic pattern kind of relationship that you see the red flags, you see all this. What is the difference? Because of course, like, let me cite an example. I remember, I can't remember whether it was you we talked about forgiveness with, but I remember someone talked about forgiveness, but you said if you have a serial cheater,
Yeah.
serial cheater can come in a relationship. It's a normal pattern,
Yeah.
as far as you know, as it's a normal relationship, challenges one go through. But I never expected this. She's my friend. Oh, so you are going out with this person. You later find out. But in a situation where you have a toxic pattern kind of, you know, series, from seasons, it becomes an episode, one after the other, episode 1, episode 2. You get to episode 50 and you're like, let me still keep on. And we have more of that now in this season that has become a norm. So what are the difference? How do we go about it?
Okay. Thank you. You know, in a relationship, when two people from two different backgrounds, you are coming together in a relationship, there are bound to be some certain differences, stepping on toes, getting to know one another kind of situation, you know, getting to know your values, getting to understand one another. Those are practically different from when a relationship is toxic. There can be some little misunderstanding here and there. You know, you were supposed to pick up this thing for me, you forgot, or you didn't remember something, you know. Those ones you can easily forgive. But when it involves somebody beating you, maybe a slight provocation, he or she turns you to a punching bag, my advice for such person is to flee. The Bible says we should flee from all appearances of evil. So what other evil are you waiting for? Then, or somebody is always putting you down. You are not, you know, you are not good enough. You know, there are two different things between complaining and criticizing. When you are doing something in a normal relationship, there are bound to be some complaints here and there. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. Those are normal complaints. But when those things now turn to criticism, somebody is always criticizing you, body shaming you, you know, and each time you are meeting one another, instead of having joy, that feeling of joy, you are having fear, a feeling of fear. You are afraid of what that person is going to say. Okay, maybe at this time he or she is going to complain that I didn't do this well, I didn't do that well. So I think it's a red flag for me. Because if you claim you are in a relationship, then there is an altar of love. So if you are going to see somebody that you love or you are meeting, there should be that feeling of joy, that feeling of having a butterfly in your stomach. But when that feeling is turning to fear, for me, it's not good enough. We understand there's a place of forgiveness in a relationship. There are some things you overlook. There are some things you just discuss. Okay, I didn't like the way you did this. You are able to express yourself without fear or favor. But there are some relationships that you cannot even express yourself. So why go into that kind of relationship in the first place? Because without effective communication, that we always say is the lifeblood of any relationship. If you cannot communicate effectively with your partner at that stage, then what are we talking about? So we know there is a place of forgiveness in a relationship, but there is a thin line between that stage and when it becomes toxic. When you are not always happy, you are afraid, you cannot express yourself, it's not supportive of what you are doing or what you are doing as a woman or as a man, you are not aligning in your visions. Okay, like I want to cite an example here. We had a function about 2 weeks ago, and my husband was there. So by privilege, he was called to do the opening prayer, and they introduced him as a pastor. Do you know, a week after, I saw a lady that called me and said, how are you coping with your husband being a pastor? Did you know he was going to be a pastor before you got married to him? Because he told me, she's a married woman. She said she cannot imagine in her widest imagination for her husband to become a pastor, that she cannot cope, that she cannot cope. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Your visions must align. If your visions, you are not going the same way, there is no point in working together. Then if your values are different, maybe you like in family time in the night, and the other person like going to the club every night. Can't you work together except they be agreed? No, they cannot. So there's a thin line. You need to understand what you want in life. You should have an expectation as a man or as a woman. When you discover that the person you are working with is not going the same direction with you, what are you doing with him or her? But by the time you start working together and you discover that your visions, your values, they are coming together, then she offended you.
Right, thank you very much,
able to
Deaconess. Let's hold you
Thank
on
you
there
very
and
much.
go for our word of marble. Let's go on our break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Just hang in there. Thank you very much. If you're joining us, you have missed the first part of our conversation where we are discussing knowing when to quit in our relationship. Yes, very important. And our guest, Deaconess Bolanle Oba, has helped us to really know when to quit, when to take that decision. I hope that this makes sense to someone, especially in the season of love where Val is just by the corner. All right, ma'am. Hello, Deaconess. Okay, thank
Yes,
you for
I'm here.
joining us back. Welcome back. Now, I want to ask this question. What is the role of emotional intelligence in knowing when to quit in a relationship? How important is emotional intelligence? Do you look at mood swings of somebody? There are situations where, you break up with somebody and it wasn't the right timing for you to leave that relationship. So what role does emotional intelligence play in knowing when to quit? Okay, I want to quit, but let me wait. Maybe he's mourning. After the season of mourning, I would walk out. Or should I just leave so that everything will just, just be ended at once? What's the role of emotional intelligence in knowing when to quit?
Emotional intelligence is very good. But for me, there is no time. There is no timetable for quitting. The moment you discover that this relationship is not working, the moment you discover that the other partner is always giving excuses, maybe to see you, to pick your calls. Yeah, he or she offended you, no apologies, then you take a walk. Thank God you are not in marriage already. That's a different ball game. If you're already in marriage, you can try to maybe talk to a pastor, talk to a counselor, talk to each other, communicate. Like you said in your word on marble, without communication, there's no relationship. But if you are in a relationship before marriage and you discover that this person, we are not going the same way, honestly, for me, there is no timetable for quitting. There is no timetable. There is no sentiment in this. The moment somebody is battering you, the moment you are not happy in a relationship, you need to take care of your own mental health. You need to take care of your own, at that point in time, you need to focus on yourself, especially if your partner is somebody that is self-centered. Is always talking about he or herself, focusing, then there's no timetable for it. There's no timetable because tomorrow might be dangerous. Waiting, okay, the person is mourning, this is not the right time. Delay may be dangerous, honestly. So there's no timetable for it. That is where the emotional intelligence comes in. The moment you discover that there is no more emotional connectivity between you and this other person, then you take a walk, you call it quits, you move on. Then you discover you are always fighting. What's the essence of a relationship if there is no peace and there is no joy in it? So for me, my own conclusion is there is no timetable for quitting. The moment you discover that this person is not going the same direction with you, call it quits. That is what I will say on that.
You said something. The moment there is no more emotions or feelings, it's time for you to move on. Now, I want to bring, as much as Mondays is set out for those who are yet to be married or come together in solemnization, I want to ask this question. And thank God you're a counselor, you're a wife of a pastor. What do you do to a relationship that you after a long period? The words really joke.
Sorry?
After a long time together as husband and wife, you tend to find out that there is no more feelings, and you're married.
Okay.
What should be the step one should take? Because I tell you, you just open that can now. I just need to pump it out for you to understand many people going through the same thing, and all in the name of Christianity, all in the name of we don't want this marriage to be broken. What should be the advice, to save the marriage or everybody move on their way? What do you counsel in this stage?
Thank you so much. In as much as I will not sit here and just give a blanket, response that the moment is not working, if you're already in a marriage relationship, you should take a walk. But at the same time, you should prioritize your mental health. You should prioritize your physical health. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The most important thing here, whether in a relationship before marriage or you are in a marriage relationship already, the moment it involves abuse and your mental health cannot handle it, I will advise that you separate for a while, seek for counsel, because it's better to be alive than to be sorry. But if it does not involve abuse, all those physical, emotional, it's not just connecting, emotional connection, there are ways you can work on that. You can both agree to see a therapist. And we've discovered that some, after even seeing a therapist, they are still finding it difficult to connect. That's the truth of the matter. It's not everyone that goes to see a pastor or everyone that goes to the prayer mountain or to see a therapist that will eventually come together after the whole process. But there are steps. The two of you must sit down together. That communication that we are running away from is the main thing. You have to sit down. What do you want? You know, there should be effective communication. What do you want? Which area am I lacking? What do you want me to be doing? You know, then the two of you must try to compromise here and there if you still want to remain together. No one can force anyone to be together. But the two adults must make a decision that this marriage, you want it to work. So if you want your marriage to work, you must work at it. Marriage will not work itself. You have to put in the work, the hard work. So if your wife is always complaining, the chores are too much, I need help. If you cannot help, please pay for somebody that will come and be helping. So those are some of the things that always affect our emotional connection. You know, a man cannot be sitting and watching TV from morning till evening while the wife is doing something. At a stage, you will be emotionally drained. I tell you the truth. So have this discussion. Have that discussion. Then begin to work at it. Begin to work at it. Begin to do things together. You know, be a team. There is a place of teamwork. If you want the marriage to work, if you want it to last, you must work at it. But we must take into cognizance that
opportunity for us to know the steps to take. Now, I want to find out, how can self-respect influence one's decision to quit a relationship?
Sorry, come again.
It's all now what a marvel without love, without respect, without communication. You know, it's better you work. So how can self-respect influence one's decision while looking, you know, quitting this particular relationship because they're yet to come together as husband and wife?
Well, self-respect too is very important. You have to respect one another, and at the same time, you have to respect yourself. You understand what I'm trying to say here? So the fact that you have self-respect does not mean you will not try to work at your marriage. You cannot just flee, maybe because of a single or some challenges that came your way. Despite the fact that you have self-respect. Self-respect, in fact, your self-respect must enable you to even work at your relation or your marriage. If you have self-respect, try to work at your marriage. But if you discover that it's not working, you invite maybe your pastor. Me, I don't always support talking to family members because we've seen a lot of cases, and in recent times, even on social media, by the time your family members are involved, honestly, that marriage is hardly redeemable. So for me, I don't support family external interferences, honestly. I don't support it at all. So if you have self-respect, instead of talking to virtually everybody at your corner, why don't you look for seasoned therapists, you know, marriage counselor, elders around you that you know are seasoned, they have testimony of where you are heading to. But by the time you are talking to virtually everybody around you, you don't have self-respect. You have lost your respect already. So that your self-respect should even enable you to work at your marriage. But in a situation where you discover that this thing, I cannot bear it any longer, honestly, you separate for a while and try to work at it from wherever you are. But we should always run away from family interferences, honestly. It's really breaking a lot of marriages. Father, mother, uncle, auntie, sister, cousin, being involved in settling your conflict or dispute.
All right, as we're rounding up, because our time is really not on our side, I want to ask, what is that reason why people don't quit relationship? Because we see it as a pattern. A young lady will be beaten by a young guy. 3 days after, she will see herself back in that relationship. And sometimes you're asking yourself, Is something wrong with you? At the point you're thinking, did they hypnotize you or are you stalked to this person? What is that major reason in your years of counseling you've realized that this is the reason why people don't want to quit? Is it the fear of, oh, I would not get another partner outside, or I don't think I'm good enough to see a better person? What is that major reason why people don't quit toxic relationships? Or when you, like you talked about a serial cheater, some will say, no, don't worry, even if he cheats with all the women, as long as I'm the one he will end up getting married to, I'm ready to stay. What is that reason why they don't quit in relationship?
Like you said, one of the major reasons is what the people around me will say. What will people say? Societal, I don't know. What are they going to say if I quit this relationship? That's number one. Then the second thing is, I always advise women, especially, be empowered, be doing something. Fear of the unknown. If I leave, what am I going to be eating? If I leave, how am I going to survive? That's the second reason why a lot of people don't quit. Then the third reason I would say is, we have different shock absorbers. For me, there are some things I may not be able to take. Some, they will not mind. Like you said, even if it's a serial cheater, she will still come back to me. But some people, if you cheat on him or her, he or she can kill you. But some, they don't mind. So our shock absorber, our level of tolerance is different. So for me, those are the reasons why a lot of people quit. Number one, what will people say? What will society say about me? Lack of empowerment. You are not doing anything. You know, you are everything. You are depending on the man, or you are depending on the woman. Because we've seen cases too where the husband is not working and the wife is battering you. It may not be physical, but verbal abuse. Verbal abuse, and you refuse to leave her. Why? Because you are not doing anything. And she's the one that is economically empowered. Then the third reason is, peradventure, he or she can take what you cannot take. So our level of tolerance is different. What you can take is different from what I can take. Then some other people, their expectations in a relationship. For me, I believe you are in a marriage relationship, most importantly, to enjoy it, not to enjoy it. So if there is no enjoyment, it's not about what you have. You know, it's about it's not the quality this time. It's not the quantity, but the quality of the depth of your relationship. So it depends on your values or how you are brought up. Then some is because of maybe their experience in the past, their upbringing, what they saw their mommy enduring. They too, well, if my mommy can bear it, I can bear it too. So it depends. Sorry, before we round up.
Okay, so this is the time we'll
Just give
need
me a
you
minute,
to
please.
counsel or drop your word of advice as we round up for today. What would you advise those young ones out there who are
So
still
before we
very
round
fresh
up,
in
please,
relationship, and those who don't
I'm in one
really have,
association.
that knowledge into relationship? What would be your advice to them at this point?
Sorry? Come again.
I mean, what would be your advice? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
What would be your advice to our young ones who are just going, like, 18-year-old now, 21, 25, some are 30, some are 35, and they're just going into relationship and they have just left one? What would be your advice? What should they do so that they will not fall into the same, error of relationship and start quitting again, so that they won't give up easily? What would be your advice to them?
In conclusion, I would like to say, you must have an expectation. You must have an expectation, and you must set your boundaries. There are some things that you know you cannot take. There's an adage, I will say it in Yoruba and try to interpret it in English. In Kotimi Nigba, in Italica, they always say, I will not take, you know, Timi Nigba Lolowo, I will not take, something like that. What you will not endure in marriage, don't tolerate it now. The moment you notice that somebody is always abusing you one way or the other, don't manage it. Try to have a conversation with that particular person. This thing you are doing, I cannot bear it. I cannot take it. If you continue, I will take a walk. So from the beginning, you must have an expectation. From the beginning, you must set your boundaries. How you want to be treated in this relationship. It cannot just be an open check. If you have an open check, they will treat you anyhow. So have an expectation. Set your boundaries. And if you are coming from maybe a toxic relationship into another one, do not use your last relationship to judge the present one. Take time to study the person you are in a new relationship with. Don't judge him or her. Learn to communicate more. Communication is it. Don't assume. There should be no place for assumption at all. When you discover that this thing, I don't understand what he or she is doing, please ask questions. Don't just assume. Don't give excuse for him or her. Thank you so much. And sorry, I also want to say
Deaconess Bolanle Oba, she is an author. She has a very wonderful book that she wrote, and we still have given it out as gifts, to our audience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Joining us this
Thank you, and we wish to,
So if you have our audience that will send in a message, it was paid for by my president of Literary Authors Association, Mrs. Awele Lusomi. She said, Deaconess Oba, as you are going on this program, I'm paying for 3 books for any of our audience that will send in message or get across to us on this program. So if they are interested, I have 3 books for them. It has been paid for. One of the titles is Alone But Not Lonely. Then the other one is The Right Kind of Marriage. The Right Kind of Marriage. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So 3 books are
thank you.
Those are the books. You can send in your message
through the SMS line, so that you win those books. And she actually gifted us some other books that we gave out. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And your wealth,
you heard it. Please send in message so that you win a book. Oh, you need knowledge. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. Now you're not buying it. Someone paid. See?
So God bless the person.
Thank you.
God bless our Mama Bolanle Oba for this great opportunity.
Thank you.
Wish you the very best of the week. Thank you so much for always being here.
Our people need to read, please.
Okay, sis.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
so this is where we need to draw a curtain for today. Today, Monday, February 3rd, 2025. We wish you the very best of today. Don't forget, days are expensive. Use yours wisely. Have a beautiful and a wonderful day. I still remain Olori Adejoke David. Bye for now from my side.
All right, as we round up today's conversation, tomorrow we'll be looking at the role of third party in a relationship. The role of third party in a relationship. Is it necessary? How important is it? Tomorrow we'll be having that conversation here in the studio. Don't miss it. Please, it promises to be another educative one. Thank you very much for being a part of our Monday and the 3rd day in the month of February. We look out to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. It's a new month. Come on, relax. And it's a season of love. Stay blessed. We love you. I am Princess Joy Ayo Abu. See you tomorrow. Bye.